How do you know her father?
Her father was my neighbor, and that's how I met him, and we became friends really quickly. He was a nice gentleman.
Are you still neighbors?
No, I have moved since.
Where did you move to?
Back to my home state, Minnesota.
When did you move to Minnesota?
That would have been the end of October of 2023.
Okay, so you met him through your father in June of 2023.
Yes.
And according to what I read, you became friends.
Yes.
That fair?
No, that is not true.
Okay. You tell me what happened when you met at her father's house.
We met in August of 2023, the beginning, and we kind of fell in love.
That sound right?
No.
August?
No, it doesn't sound right.
Okay.
It was a month or two before that.
Well, tell me about it. You meant a month or two before that at your father's house. You were visiting your father.
Yes, in June.
What did you do in Las Vegas?
I'm an armed security guard.
And you live alone with your two kids?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How did you get to Arizona?
I drove.
Whose car?
At the time, it was a rental car, so I drive through Lyft, and they have an app where you can actually get a rental car through their services. So that was the vehicle I was using.
So you didn't have a car of your own?
No.
So you met him in June. And what happened?
We became friends. I started taking trips out to Arizona to see him.
Okay, so that became more than just friends. You don't travel with two little children.
Well,
to visit somebody who was just your friend.
So,
just a second.
Okay, sorry.
It was just your friend.
Yes.
Okay. Where did you stay when you went to Arizona to visit him?
My father's or hotel.
Never stayed with him?
No. Well, correction, I did one time.
In what month did you stay with him?
October.
I'm asking
you. September or October, the beginning and the ending of September and October.
For how long?
Just for one night.
What you're suing Mr. Corey for is for $10,000 for breaching a contract to purchase a car for you and damages for you having to use other means of transportation. Now, that's what the case is all about. Because at some point, he went with you to a car dealership in what month?
September of 2023.
Beginning, middle, or end?
Beginning. September 6th, to be exact.
Now, it was also the month of September when you stayed over at his house.
Yes.
And when you went to the dealership on September 5th, you did, in fact, go with him.
Yes.
For what purpose?
To get me a vehicle.
Now, were you going to buy a vehicle? Did you have money to buy a vehicle on your own?
I did. I had a down payment for a vehicle. The whole purpose of him trying to help me is so that I could try to get something lower in a down payment or lower in cost for a vehicle, so he decided to help me on that.
Up until September 5th, had you ever been intimate with the defendant?
No, ma'am.
What about after you spent the night at his house?
No.
No.
No, ma'am.
Where did you sleep?
On the couch.
And he?
Slept on his bed.
Prior to September, had he made any romantic overtures to you?
Yes, ma'am, a few times.
Okay.
Okay.
Tell me what they were.
Text messages, videos of sexual gestures of himself.
No.
Prior to September?
Yes.
So you knew he had more than just a friendly interest in you?
Not quite.
Well, that's ridiculous. You have two children. You know when a man is sending you suggestive text messages and sexual videos that he's more interested in you other than as the daughter of his neighbor.
True.
Okay, you're a smart cookie. You don't have to be a genius to figure that out. So you know he had a romantic interest in you.
Yes.
Did you and the defendant ever discuss you relocating from Las Vegas to Arizona?
No, ma'am.
Okay. No.
Mr. Corey, you indicate that that is the case, that the plaintiff and you had discussed her relocating to be with you in Arizona.
That is correct, yes.
Do you have any text messages or other messages that would reflect that?
No, I do not. I had changed...
Don't tell me you changed your phone. Everybody who comes here changes the phone. They lost their phone. The dog ate their phone. The kids flushed the phone. Whatever it is. The answer is you don't have it.
Correct.
All right.
So she claims that there was no romantic interest in this guy whatsoever, and it was just a friend that she met through her father, which is also kind of a little bit weird if you ask me. Perhaps maybe her father and him, it was more of like a neighborly relationship and he's actually younger than her father. I don't know. But what's really interesting about this is that I do actually believe his story more than I believe hers currently, in this current state with all the information that's out there. And the reason why is because his story matches up more than hers does. Because if you really want to talk about the logistics here, what would cause somebody like her, who is a single mother with 2 children, to continue to drive herself over to Arizona to see this guy when in reality, what does he have to offer for you if he's just your dad's friend, or even that, for that matter, just your dad's neighbor? I do believe that this lady here was definitely at least probing him in a romantic way, if you will, and was seeking some sort of benefit. Now, it could have been more so a sugar daddy type of situation where she was just looking for financial help because she's a single mother and this guy was willing to give it. But I don't know if there's going to be something that comes out, guys, that indicates she was actually romantic with him and that there was a little bit of mattress polo going on before they went to go purchase the car. Now, I want to hear what you guys think about this. Do you think there was mattress polo going on between these two, or do you think it was just strictly platonic friends? Let me know.
Mr. Corey, you indicate that the plaintiff and you had discussed her relocating to be with you in Arizona.
Excuse me, Your Honor. We did have a conversation about me actually joining the corrections for the state of Arizona. So that was a conversation we had, but we never had a conversation stating that I was going to just pick up and move from Las Vegas to Arizona.
But you did discuss with him the fact that you were thinking about applying for a job in Arizona.
Yes, ma'am.
In security.
Yes, ma'am.
When was that conversation? What month?
That was in September.
Before the car was purchased.
Yes.
Then you go to the dealership, and it seems his credit is better than yours, the usual whole story. He ends up purchasing the car in his name, and he is on the loan.
Yes, ma'am.
That you took out for the car, and you put down the down payment.
Yes.
Okay. How much of a down payment did you put down?
$1,000.
And how much was the car?
A little over $28,000.
Okay, so far your investment in the car is $1,000.
Plus one car payment also that I have paid on the vehicle.
Okay, and when was that one car payment?
That was in November.
And how much was that car payment?
$400. It was just $400 flat for me.
Yeah. You got the car September 5th or 6th?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you drive the car the whole month of September?
Yes.
What about the month of October? Did you drive the car?
Yes.
Did you drive the car in November?
Yes.
Did you drive the car in December?
Yes.
Until when in December?
Up until a week ago, ma'am.
So you had the car up until a week ago?
Yeah.
So you had the car September, October, November, and December, and part of January. And your total investment was $1,400. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, that's what I'm asking you. So let's do the math.
Ma'am, there is a reason, if I can just say, there's a reason why that's all I put down. Since the loan is in his name, he had to actually add me to the account for me to make these payments. I didn't trust sending him the cash. So I had him add me on the account so that I can make payments from my bank account. Mm-hmm. He ended up taking me off of the account to where I couldn't make any payments on the vehicle. So that's why.
Okay. If I believed your whole story, that you were just friends and that there was no intimacy between you, if I believe that, which I could believe, but there's no question in my mind that you knew that his interest in you was more than just friendly. Now you have a $30,000 car, which he's stuck with. You've told him that, well, I'm thinking about coming to Arizona, applying for a job there. He is clearly thinking more that this friendship is going to proceed more, and you are letting him go through the process of thinking that. There's no question in my mind about that. There's no question in my mind about that. Listen, he says that the relationship was more than you are expressing to me. Would that be a fair statement, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
It was never more, but okay.
Okay, well, that's what he's saying. Whether it was or whether it wasn't, it's clearly something that he wanted and that you knew that he wanted, and he had a $30,000 obligation. You ended up not moving to Arizona, and after you got the car in September. You stayed with him one night at his house, one night in September. What happened in October?
I haven't seen him since. That
Why?
was the last time that I saw him.
Why?
The arguments that we've been getting into?
No. What arguments? So in September, You get the car, so there were no arguments. When did you start to have arguments?
Like right after, even a little bit before. We had arguments before. He has a drinking problem, so we would get into random arguments, random fights and stuff like that.
He's got a drinking problem and he got into arguments before. You still let him buy a car.
I didn't know it was that bad.
Why did you stop after you got the car communicating with him?
Because he wanted more from me. He was asking more of me and wanting me to do things that I wasn't comfortable doing.
Like what?
Like sexual actions that he wanted to do with me and...
Yeah, okay. So I've sort of created a scenario which he doesn't even have to participate in. You drove a car September, October, November, December, and January, 5 months, and in total you paid $1,400 or $280 a month for the privilege of driving a $30,000 car. That's pretty reasonable, isn't it? Can't rent a car for $280 a month. You go to work?
Yes, ma'am.
And you get to work how? Because it's part of your damages.
I was getting to work with the vehicle.
Not this car. How were you getting to work prior to this car? You worked as security. How were you getting to
the
work?
rental car through the lift services, as I told you.
A rental?
Yes.
What kind of car?
It's whatever they give you. Sometimes you got to trade it in, so it's whatever they give you.
Great. And you pay for that by the day, by the week, by the month? How do you pay
It's weekly.
for it? How much do you pay weekly for it?
$680 a week.
$680 a week?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, there's no question then for these 5 months, you made out like a bandit because you only paid for the total time that you had the car $280 a month, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And then he said, well, this isn't working out the way I thought it was. See, you don't have to say much. This isn't working out the way I thought it was. This is not a romance, right? Which is why I put my name on this loan to begin with. Is that a fair statement?
That's not what it was supposed to be. That's
What was it
not
supposed-
why
well,
he put his name on the
Tell
on the
me why
car.
you think he put his name on it.
He
Mr.
didn't even
Corey.
know me well enough to even want to have an intimate relationship with me.
Tell
nor
me
my
why
kids.
you think. Tell me why you think then he went with you and signed the loan. Tell me why you think he did that.
I think he did that because he was under the influence, first of all, because he's always drinking. And
If that's true, if you think that he was under the influence of alcohol and therefore was not in a position to make a decision, that's easy for me. Then your case is dismissed for that reason because he couldn't make a contract with you to buy you a car if he didn't have the mental capacity to do that. You want to come up with a different reason?
it's just something that he always done.
You have no case, Miss Harris. You drove
So
a car.
what about
You drove a
what
car.
about the harassment and all that stuff?
You
that
have no
he's-
case with regard to the car. You have no case with regard to the car. That's it. You paid
Why-
$1,400. He's not
Why is
obligated to
that-
buy you a car.
Okay, ma'am, but I wasn't able to make those payments on the vehicle.
Whether you
because
were or
of
whether
him.
you weren't, you didn't. You drove a car for 5 months. You paid $280. It is a fraction of what you were paying before to get to and from work. So you're really not out any
Ma'am,
money.
in
Go buy a new car. Listen to me. Clearly, there was a misunderstanding between the two of you to the extent of where this relationship was going.
But in December, he took me off the account, so I was only able to pay that 1 month.
I don't care. You're not out any money.
So she claims that this guy right here has a drinking problem and he was probably drunk, and that is why he went ahead and purchased the car for her. But what doesn't make any sense to me is that's more of a reason why you shouldn't accept it. And it only shows me her true intentions as a whole, that she's willing to take advantage of people when they're at their lowest. This guy right here doesn't, I mean, he may have a drinking problem, I don't know. But it doesn't make any sense as to why he would purchase her a car just out of being drunk when there's a number of other reasons why he could have done it. And it's pretty clear. It's because he was expecting that they were moving forward in a romantic way, that she was going to move in with him, and that they were going to start their life together. That makes more sense to me because I don't know what else would cause a man to do such a thing. We're going to continue to hear, though, because she still is putting her foot down, saying that there was no romantic involvement and they were not intimate together, and that it was just a friendship that she thought he was being nice and buying her a car and being overly drunk and nice. I have a feeling that we're about to really break open that box here, and we're going to see what exactly went on between the two of them, because I want to know the details, and so let's just keep watching and hear what happens.
Now, the other part of your lawsuit is for harassment.
Yes, ma'am.
So now you're going to tell me when the harassment started and what it is.
The harassment started late September, late in the month, probably like the 15th or the 16th.
Well, you said you stayed over at his house the end of September or the beginning of October. That's
No,
what
it was
you
the
told me.
beginning of September.
No.
That's when I got the car.
No, that's not what you told me. You told me you stayed at his house at the end of September. Would you find that spot for me? I may be mistaken. That is possible.
You said September or October, the beginning, the ending of September, October.
That's exactly what she said. The end of September or the beginning of October. You got the car September 5th, and you stayed with him, according to you, one night at the end of September. That's what you testified to.
Okay, well, it was September 5th, the night that I stayed. I stayed at his house the day before we went to get the car.
Oh, well, then you made, just a second, then you made a mistake. You made a mistake. You didn't stay at his house. You stayed at his house the night before you went to get the car. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now you're going to tell me the harassment started, according to you now, on September the 15th. What did he do?
He started sending me pictures of himself, trying to interact in sexual stuff over the phone. He wanted me to show, like, my body parts. He sent me pictures of himself, asking me to send pictures of myself to him, which I have proof of.
Just a second, and what did you say?
I didn't say anything. I just said, no, I'm not into that. I'm going to bed. I got to put my kids to bed. So I just blew him off.
Okay, so you blew him off. What's next?
The videos and pictures of him. So he likes to find women on the internet and pay for them, and he'll send me videos and pictures of him with these other women. I also have these pictures and videos here.
Show me when you told him to stop sending you the videos. I'm assuming, for the purpose of this, I am assuming that he sent you videos that you didn't want to see. I'm assuming, for the purpose of this question, that from September 15th, he started to send you more sexually explicit things. So now I want you to show me what date you told him to stop. So it was ongoing from September 15th, when he would send you these things. Show me the please stop. I don't want to see the video. I want you to show me please stop. I don't want to have anything to do with those videos or this topic.
I just say no.
Just a second.
No, I don't want to. Okay.
No, just show me.
One second. I want to
Shh. What are you showing me? I don't know what this is.
I'm
I want you to show me.
There's screenshots. So
No. I'm not interested in screenshots. I'm interested in when, in this, you said to him, please don't show that to me anymore. Please don't communicate with me with regard to this topic. Don't show me any screenshots. I'm not interested. Just show me when you told him to stop.
Here's the one that says, no, I'm not interested. I got to put my kids to bed. And then.
Just a second. Madam, I don't want to embarrass you, but you gave this to me. Evidently, there's some intimacy here that you're stringing him along, which is what I think, because he says to you some sex act that he wants to do with you, and your response to him is, laugh out loud, I'm in bed. And he says, really, that's hot. He says to you, really, that's hot. Did you try your new toy? I assume that that's not an erector set or a gizmo. Did you try your new toy? And you respond to him, no, I gotta put my kids to bed first. Not I gotta put kids to bed. You said, no, I've gotta put my kids to bed first. Don't you think that that's a lead on?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Well,
no.
I'm sorry you don't think so, madam, but it is a lead on. Did he send you a sex toy?
No.
Did you buy it yourself?
No.
Well, just a minute, then why did you respond? Did you try your new toy? No, I gotta put my kids to bed first. Your case is dismissed. You have no case. Goodbye. We're done.
This court is adjourned.
I am totally happy with her decision. This was nothing other than her trying to take advantage of me.
I really don't agree with it.
She kept asking for more and more and didn't really seem to care about myself and what's going on in my life.
I wasn't trying to string him along or anything like that.
The videos were my way of telling her I didn't want to be with her anymore. I sent them to her around that time in October, so.
He just told me he was going to help me out and do something for me. And it turned out it being something other than that, me doing more than what I was expected for his help.
I'm not helping anybody out like that again.
He lived in a one-bedroom apartment, so I wasn't looking at him for any of his.
So Judge Judy decided to dismiss this case, and I actually do agree with her in this one because I don't think that this guy did any of the things that she was claiming that wasn't warranted or invited. I think that she definitely was taking advantage of this guy, 100%. She knew that he had a romantic or somewhat romantic, intimate interest in her and decided to use that to her advantage to quite literally get this guy to buy her a vehicle. Now, to say what you want, you know, you could say that she's the problem and she's the issue, and she does have some issues, and those things that she did were wrong. But this guy, like, how could you be so dumb to send money like that and to purchase somebody who you barely know a $30,000 car? Especially somebody who has children that you have no idea who they are. I mean, you can't say that you're just being nice if you aren't looking for a little bit of mattress polo, if you know what I'm saying. So what I don't get is how she would manage to think that she was going to send evidence of her saying no to this guy. And then Judge Judy's like, you literally said that you were going to, you know, use this toy later after you put your kids away or put your kids to bed. But this is the thing that I want to kind of consider in this case. She said that this was her evidence as to why she was kind of putting him off, and Judge Judy didn't buy it. But I do think that there is sometimes parts about the dynamic between a man and a woman interacting with each other, and a man kind of probing some unwanted stuff from her, and it makes the woman feel really uncomfortable. And I do believe that sometimes it's not as easy for women to just say, no, back off. And I do think that there is a little bit more nuance and complexity to this issue, where if you feel really uncomfortable and maybe even perhaps feel a little bit afraid for your life, that you could potentially try to let them down easy, if you will. Does that make sense, everyone? I think that there's a little bit of a dance to it that maybe perhaps she was doing because she felt like she had to, and she felt like she needed to kind of navigate it in a way that wasn't so cut and dry of, no, I'm not interested. Although that would have been probably better, we don't know the dynamic between this relationship, because this guy was someone who she claimed had a drinking problem. So we don't know if there was any form of anger. They were getting in arguments and stuff. And so she could have had a situation where she felt like she needed to kind of navigate those conversations in a way that felt a little bit more nuanced. So I want to hear what you guys think about this. Do you agree with what I just said? Do you understand what I was putting down? And do you agree with this judgment? So leave your comments down below. I'd love to see them.